Well, in my interviews, and I read some of them, they say that I tell stories. I don't know when the stories come out on the stage, but they come out at the oddest times. And for instance, I'm thinking now, after that Jenny song was about meditation, really, and it takes me back to the time. Now I've got to explain to you, when I'm doing the 50th, all these times in my life, the ventures of Gypsy Dave and I, for instance, I'll tell you one of them in the second half. You won't believe it. I didn't believe it. There was a time, and I have to say, it's quite touching. I was the best friends of the best songwriters of the 60s. We used to hang out together, we'd share. And I'm sitting cross-legged on this tour for a good reason. This is how all the songs that you remember, and so do I, were written. You might not believe it. Every rock song, sat, cross-legged, lying on our backs, on cushions, in parties, in people's flats, around our friends' places, acoustic guitars. Every rock song, I can tell you, was written on an acoustic guitar. I know, as I checked with Jimmy Page. I said, Jimmy, all those songs, NZ, acoustic guitar, right? Well, of course not. I said, why, of course? He said, you can't set up a bloody rock band in your parlour, in your front room. All the songs written like this, and it reminds me of a story. And I'm going to tell you of a time I was sitting cross-legged in my wee flat, my apartment in London. And I want you to imagine those times when I used to hang out with the songwriters of my generation. They disappeared in '67 because fame grabbed us by the back of the neck and threw us into super fame. And we never saw each other much after that. But I remember a time, a Sunday, late '66. The sun was beaming down, and the Edgware Road in London was absolutely empty. It's hard to bloody imagine any major city today with a main road completely empty on a Sunday. And there it was. I could hear the birds twittering in the trees. And I was sitting in my wee flat. You couldn't hear a car. Nobody was about. And I was sitting in front of my wee Nagra tape recorder, writing songs. It was a beautiful little machine, and I could afford one now. I had the microphone. And I couldn't hear a soul out there in London. Then the doorbell rang. Ding dong. So I go to the door, open the door, and it's Paul McCartney. And he's standing there with a guitar around his neck. Now he's wearing the suit and the trousers, the same uniform that he's wearing today, with a white shirt. And I say to him, hello, what are you doing? He said, I'm writing songs, what are you doing? I said, I'm writing songs too. He said, can I come in? I said, sure. So in comes Paul, takes off the shoes, cross-legged on the floor, we get the guitars, and he says, I've got this one. I said, all right, let me hear it. And he goes, Olan Tunji, blowing his mind in the dark with the pipe full of clay. What can you say, Olan Tunji? And I said, who's Olan Tunji? Oh, it's a bloke I'm reading about in a book. Well, of course, this would be Eleanor Rigby. Any old words work, as long as you've got the song going in some way. You put anything in there. And I played a couple of mine, what I was working on. And then the doorbell rings again. Ding dong. Who could it be? There's nobody around. So I go to the door, open the door, and it's an 18-year-old young London policeman, a bobby. Paul comes up, leans over my shoulder and looks at the bobby. The bobby looks at Paul and says, oh, it's you, Mr. McCartney. And he comes to full attention and salutes. So I turned to Paul and I said, is that how it is with you guys? I'm afraid it is, Don. At the moment, we're like royalty. Then we look at the policeman again. And the young man looks at Paul. And this is the part of the story I don't believe either. He says to Paul, "Well, Mr. McCartney, is that your car downstairs, an Aston Martin?" "Yeah, with one wheel on the pavement and the other three on the road." "Yeah. And the door open?" "Yeah. And the radio playing?" "Yeah." And then he says to Paul, "Well, Mr. McCartney, if you give me the keys, I'll park it for you." So Paul gives him the keys, and off he goes. I shut the door, we sit cross-legged on the floor one more time, and the real reason why Paul's come around becomes clear. He says, "I've got this kid song done, and you're the king of the kid songs, but I'm missing a line in my song." Paul McCartney, I thought, missing a line. Up his house round the corner in St. John's Wood, he's got a piano. I was there many times. It's a beautiful piano. If he fell on the piano, by the time he picked himself up, he'd have written 3 songs. I was a 3-song-a-day man myself. But I remembered that there are holes in Beatles songs. Ringo sometimes throws something in. The road manager, Big Mal Evans, he came up with some lines. So I said, "Well, okay, what is it, Paul?" "In a town where I was born, lived a man who sailed the sea." It was Yellow Submarine coming. And so he said, I haven't got a line for this bit here, Don. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Can you get a line in there, Don? So I thought about it for a minute, was a bit awestruck, but then I said, "Give me a minute." So I took my guitar, went into the bedroom, and came back with this. Sky blue and sea of green in a yellow submarine. Paul said, "That'll do." And then the doorbell rang again. Ding dong. So we go to the door, and it's the young Bobby. And he gives the keys to Paul, and Paul says, "Thank you very much." And then the young Bobby comes stiffly to attention, salutes, and is gone. And another adventure in those idyllic days of '66 between Don and Paul came to a close. We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine. But that little yellow submarine is not really a child's toy. It is a symbol of the life those 4 guys from Liverpool was fast disappearing into. A life withdrawn from the rest of the world, elevated into that ivory tower of fame. And their friends were all aboard. I was one of them. But only those friends that would not hit them with the awe and the fame and the problems of being famous. But that's just an inside story I told you there. That wee yellow submarine has been a joy, and a great joy, to millions of children all over the world. Let's say hello to Paul on that one. We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine. Singles, very different from each other, especially this one. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. First there is a mountain, then mountain, then there is no mountain. Now your turn. There's no mountain, there is the log upon my garden gates, a snail, that's what it is. The log upon my garden gates, a snail, that's what it is. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. The caterpillar shed his skin to find that butterfly within. Caterpillar shed his skin to find that butterfly within. Oh yeah, first there is a mountain, then there is no mountain. Now your turn. Yeah, there's no mountain, then one more time. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there. Oh, Juanita, oh, Juanita, oh, Juanita, I call your name. Oh, well, the snow would be a blinding sight to see us in that yonder hillside. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain. Now your turn. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain. Yeah, yeah, come on. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain.